New tents, new seasons, and new adventures. The seasons were changing so quickly that I didn't even realize when my summer camping days were ending and when the rainy and windy weather was beginning. Not long ago, I was sitting in the forest and enjoying the warm sunshine and the peaceful summer evenings. Soft sunlight was passing gently through the trees, and I was sitting outside my tent, quietly enjoying those beautiful moments. Everything around me was feeling calm and peaceful. Back then, I was simply sitting there, feeling the warmth of the sun and the gentle breeze touching my face. It was one of those little moments that was making me feel truly happy. But now the weather was changing. The wind was blowing a little stronger, the sky was filling with clouds, and sometimes when I was setting up my tent, light raindrops were beginning to fall. And honestly, I was loving this feeling too. Every season in the forest was bringing a new story. The smell of the rain, the soft sound of leaves moving in the wind, and the cool air were making me feel closer to nature. One day, I was packing my camping gear into my car and driving toward the forest again. The road was slightly wet, and the cool breeze was touching my face as I was driving. Inside my heart, I was feeling a quiet excitement, as if a new adventure was waiting for me. When I arrived, I was parking my car and slowly taking out my camping gear. Then I was carefully setting up my new tent. The wind was gently moving the trees, and somewhere in the distance birds were singing. At that moment, it felt like the whole forest was quietly listening to my story. When my tent was ready, I was sitting outside with a warm cup of tea in my hands. Light raindrops were falling around me, and the cool forest air was feeling fresh and peaceful. In that moment, I was realizing something beautiful. Some of the best moments in life were happening when we were simply close to nature. In that moment, I was realizing something beautiful. Some of the best moments in life were happening when we were simply close to nature. A little later, I was spreading a small blanket on the ground and preparing a simple picnic outside my tent. I was taking some snacks and fruit from my car and quietly enjoying my food while listening to the sounds of the forest. Sometimes a small bird was coming close to me, as if it was curious about what I was doing. Slowly, the evening sky was turning soft shades of orange and pink. The air was becoming cooler, and the forest was starting to feel even more magical. I was lighting a small lantern and sitting quietly outside my tent, watching its warm light glowing softly between the trees. It was such a peaceful moment that I didn't want it to end. When night finally arrived, the sounds of the forest were changing. I could hear crickets in the distance, the wind moving through the trees, and the soft rustling of leaves. I went inside my tent, slipped into my sleeping bag, and looked up at the dark sky with a gentle smile. And in that quiet moment, I realized something. This wasn't just camping. This was my journey. Every new forest, every quiet night, and every changing season was bringing a new story into my life. And maybe that's why. tomorrow, I will be starting another adventure again, because in the forest, my story is still continuing.